Welcome back to episode 4 of the Fabric of Ireland podcast. I'm back, and as always, it's great to be back in the studio and shooting another episode. So welcome to anyone who's new here, and thank you to all the returning subscribers and viewers. I appreciate your support on this podcast. So I'm back with another episode. I actually wanted to shoot another Journey to Ireland episode, but I had to change things up a little bit. And my initial intention was to actually shoot a podcast with my little one, mainly just to capture some memories and reflect on her own journey in Ireland, and just bringing her up here, what her experience has been like, and that sort of thing. But I've just been confronted. I think I had my own doubts and my own gut feeling that wasn't so sure about putting her online. She had actually said, "Oh, mommy, I want to be a customer on your podcast." So I thought it would be a good idea to just have those conversations. And with kids, they're always changing, and she's not who she was 2 years ago. So I actually wanted to capture those moments with her and just have it like as an own memory for myself as well, and maybe still share it as content. But something in my gut said no, and I decided to just pause it and just shoot this episode on my own and kind of reflect on my own journey as a mother, as well as just some of the topics that have come out in recent days and months regarding sharing kids' content and, as they call it, sharenting. When I look back, I would have grown up around certain shows like Kids Say the Darnest Things. So I used to enjoy that show because it would just show the innocence, the beauty, and just when kids speak, sometimes it reflects so much wisdom and how, what we display as adults, kids are watching and learning and repeating. So I did love that show growing up. And so it always seemed like an innocent way to kind of spread humor and joy and just share the light that is around kids. But a lot has changed. There's just so much debate around that, and sharing kids content online or exposing them to the online world, where something as innocent as that, or things that actually make people laugh, because at the end of the day, there is a lot of joy to be shared around birthing children, them telling jokes or them observing us and making us look silly as adults. There is a joy in that, but at the same time now it just seems that it's gotten down a road that is a bit of tricky territory, and there's consent where there's talk around, obviously they're not at the age of consent, so should we be putting their faces out there? So it's reflective for me because, like I said, I did want to have that with the purest of intentions, I'd say, because I do always try and go back and check my motives around, why am I doing this? Is it the right thing to do? And I wouldn't be one to post a lot, to be honest. I started this podcast and that was kind of my segue into social media. I wouldn't have had anything besides really WhatsApp. So I'm kind of learning all the ropes now. I didn't even realize my Instagram was public, and then I had to switch it to private. And that's just ignorance on my part. Like I hadn't realized certain things. So the journey of social media itself, like it's a tricky one because there is, I don't think there's always bad motives behind sharing or posting, but somehow it's just become very demonized. Like it just feels like there's so much guilt tripping and shaming around it. I am reflecting on it and just trying to understand my own position and what do I want to do in my own family regarding that, So I guess one of the drivers or one of the things that came up was recently the Data Protection Commission of Ireland launched the Pause Before You Post campaign to raise awareness on the potential risks and consequences of sharenting. And sharenting is the habitual sharing of personal information, photos, and videos by parents of their children online. Yeah, I think that ad is pretty much everywhere. Like, even on Instagram, there's a lot of engagement, there's a lot of debate, there's a lot of, yeah, positive commentary around it. Well, I think, yeah, one of the creative directors had said the intention was to have it like as a drama as opposed to an ad, because it is a bit unsettling. At the same time, I have a lot of questions because I'm conflicted in the sense that, like I'm saying, I don't really post a lot. Like I can count the number of times I've posted my child out there, which probably isn't many. But yeah, when I look at that ad, firstly, I'm wondering, okay, is this like, was it real people in the ad or was it AI? Because then there's actually a little girl in the ad. I'm just wondering, okay, what about the little girl in the ad? Like, if she's a real person, the whole pause before you post is actually using a girl, like a little girl, to sort of champion that campaign. And so, yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest, if it's AI or if it's an actual person, because like, where's the protection for her? Because I don't really see the difference now between like a national TV show or Instagram. Like, at the bottom line, the kid's face is being shown. So it is a bit strange for me when I'm looking at it in that lens. And then she's obviously walking through the shopping mall or the shopping center with her mother. And then these adults obviously know certain things about her life. And I did find it a little strange because I don't know if people are in people's business, right? But what I have found is that even, okay, I'll give an example of a bus, that I can go on a bus with headsets in my ear and I won't have to talk to anybody. Like, if I choose not to talk to anyone the whole day here, that's going to happen. Maybe, obviously, you might say thank you to the bus driver, but that might be it. Like, you can be on mute the whole day. Like, are people really engaging with each other like that in the real world? They probably are doing it online behind a keyboard where nobody can see them. But for the most, let me not say for the most, but from what I've seen, people kind of stick to themselves. And if you decide today, I'm not going to talk, you can survive without talking. It's even awkward if you maybe greet people in the bus. Like, it's like, why are you saying hi? Like, so perhaps it's naive reflections, but those are some of the like concerns that came into my mind. Like, yeah, and why is it that though those adults are not even engaging with the mother, but they're engaging with the child? So it's like, where's the adult to adult conversations and connections? Why do people jump to speak to a kid as opposed to engage with the mother? Which is a bit strange, but it probably does happen that way. So yeah, it is unsettling. And I think just the whole issue of kids is very, I mean, it's important to me, but I just find like at this point, it's so hard to find which way to go, because if they're not on Instagram, if they're not on national TV, then how do we still protect them? Because then even playing outside can be seen as dangerous, you know? Recently, even in my own home country, there were 3 children playing outside, and then they went missing, only to be found a few days later in, the boot of an abandoned car. So where are we saying children are safe nowadays? Because they're not safe online. They're not safe at home or playing outside. Maybe they are, but there's just a lot of bad things happening to children everywhere, no matter which sort of safeguards we're trying to put. So it left me feeling a little bit like parents are helpless. Like, why? Like, above all the things that parents have to keep up with, now there's this kind of guilt around posting our children, where there's actually people out there who are perpetrating crimes against children. And where's the accountability for them? As adults, we should hold ourselves to a higher moral standard of, why are we preying on kids, or why are kids being preyed on? I'm not preying on kids. So why are kids how has the world gotten to such a level where kids are just, you know, everyone's doing whatever they think, needs to happen. Like if it's violence, if it's abductions, if it's trafficking, it's just so concerning. So I'm feeling like as a parent, I'm just stuck because you're maybe damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, where do we get that bit of reprieve? And like I'm saying, as someone who wouldn't normally post, I'm not coming from a place of that I want to post my children, but I'm just saying that why is there so much guilt? Or it gives the sense of victim blaming. So why is it there's so much guilt directed towards children and parents, whereas there actually are people who are doing these things who need to be tracked down and, cut it from the root? Because I don't know that kids were meant to just be hidden and, make it seem like there's just something so wrong with sharing the joy that comes from children, the wisdom that they have. So yeah, that's part of my confliction and confusion about all this information overload. And I think even when we look at some of the TV shows, right? Like, where's the protection for those kids? Because, I mean, even here in Ireland, there is a show every year where kids go and open presents and showcase different presents. So, like, are those kids, because those kids are actually on national television and I believe it gets broadcast around the world. So, what protections are available for those kids? It's almost like, let's shut the whole thing down. Like, nothing's working, whether it be TV, whether it be Instagram. There's people out there who are committed to doing basically evil acts against us, whatever sort of safeguards we put. So, like, what are we doing to prevent or to have harsher sentences for people who commit crimes against children, or even curb those kind of things? Because it seems like there's a whole lot of data flowing in the world and there's all these data centers. But then when it comes to the IP address of that person who's taken a child's picture and done what they needed to do with it in AI, like, where is the tracking of that? Yeah, it's baffling my mind. So I might be a bit, but I feel like, yeah, everything's getting confused. Like, right is wrong, wrong is right. Which way do we go at this point? Because even when, let's say, we watch Netflix, we are paying, like, going to work to earn a living. Then you pay a subscription to whichever platforms or streaming service you're using. And then obviously you're paying that. And let's say you watch whatever show that you think, okay, this is appropriate for my child. But then most of them start going down some rabbit hole or start introducing certain things that might not be age appropriate, because it might start innocent and then next thing the plot is thickening and things change along the way. It's like paying for your destruction, because it's not like it's free. You pay a monthly subscription for that. So this is where I'm feeling not confused as a parent, but just like your hands are not tied, but it's just so frustrating that, like, so much legislation, so much protection, this and this and this and that, and it's just overwhelming. And we're just trying to work and make a living and not traumatize our kids and not, just trying our best, really. I think that's what most parents are trying to do. Yeah, even this whole situation around the AI bots as well. I've seen a few articles of kids who've been groomed by these AI bots and been led down different paths of destruction. And, the stories are horrific, and the things that, these chats reveal or say is just, honestly, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. So, yeah, it's like the whole internet, whether it be streaming service, whether it be Instagram, whatever it is, whatever we are being fed or whatever our children is being fed is not building, but it's actually destroying. Like, you're trying to build a family, but then in the end, it just seems a bit futile, because if you post, you're doomed. If you don't post, you could still be doomed, because, we don't know who's lurking, who's been vetted, who's not vetted. It's just becoming a scary world to raise children really. And like I'm saying, that they carry so much light, but then this feels like there's just so much like villainization. Is that a word? Or yeah, it's making it difficult to parent as well as difficult to just navigate what to do. At the same time, I rely heavily on my faith because I don't have that wisdom that would allow me to make all the right decisions. I'm still a human. I still have limitations. And I don't always get it right. Yeah, far from that. So I think godly wisdom is one of the things that can help. But it's just some trying times we're living through. And sometimes the double standards where we're saying, okay, don't post them. But I'm saying, what about the ones on TV? What about the ones, like there's so many things that kids do, from sports clubs, from just activities that they do. And it's like, okay, we literally just keep it to ourselves, buy more storage from your phone is just getting heavy with all these pictures and videos and, just keep them. There's nothing you can do with them. And not to say that you should be posting or anything. It's just more parents being in control of how they can parent and what they do around, what they want to post or what they deem as appropriate. Because obviously not all parents are doing it in a way that's appropriate. Some parents are using kids as content like on a daily basis. It's almost like having a child worker. So we've just kind of lost the plot, I'd say, and wisdom has left the building. So yeah, I've been reflecting a lot on that ad. Like a part of me agrees with it and a part of me is still conflicted because it is pause before you post. As it says, it's not like don't post, it says pause. But at the same time, we are adults being held accountable for what they're doing. With all the information and all the data that's floating around, where are these adults being held accountable is my question there. And with that as well, like, people go missing every day as well. So it's another scary thing that's happening where, kids are just maybe playing outside and, strange things are happening. Kids go missing, and the next thing when they're found, they're not alive. And it's so scary because, playing is what we're advocating for, that, less time on screens and more playing outside. But even that is starting to feel like a scary path to go down. Or like, do we now obviously have to always be there outside, which is that even possible? Like, with, two working parents trying to make a living, trying to provide for these same children, yeah, it feels like our hands are a bit tied, and hopefully, there will be some light at the end. For now, it doesn't feel so much like that. And it's more the acts of adults who know better, where I'm saying even the platforms that are pushing those agendas, like what was the modus operandi of those platforms? Because if it's profit over people, okay, we get that. Businesses have to make profit. But now everyone's in a frenzy, like ban social media, ban this, ban that. And then when it comes to the people who are pushing the content or the agenda, they get a fine. And a fine is not going to bring back the child who lost their life or was groomed by an AI. The fine is not, it's not going to bring back a life that's been lost, with all the activity that happens on the internet or the bullying and the cyberbullying. It just doesn't, there's no replacement for life as such. So yeah, I'm a little bit questioning everything and what is actually going on in the world. Like, well, how has it come to this? Because even when we speak of schools as well, there are schools who have Instagram pages. So now what's to happen with that? Because it's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing because you get to see, let's say, different activities, or even just if you're interested in taking your child to a certain school, or, you might go on the page and see the kind of activities they do, because not everything that happens in the classroom can be captured, but it's a glimpse into, okay, what a day in the life in that school is like. So they might have Facebook or Instagram pages, but then now is that to say, okay, that needs to go as well. Like, we are just going to live like, I don't know. I actually don't know, because what must happen if schools and whatever it is, educational institutions can't post, then yeah, it almost feels like then the internet or Instagram or whatever it is futile to us. Whatever it is that we've created, because then that's the other thing. As humans, we have this unique ability to take something that's good and just like make it horrible for everybody. Because I don't believe the internet was a bad thing, but at this point, it's become a place of, fear, bullying, just everything that's flowing out from it. Well, not everything, sorry. Most things that are flowing out from it are horrible. So we've taken good things and now we can't even use it to sort of spread more positive messages. Or even then, you just get flooded with so much information. And probably like me now, I'm like, which way do I go? What direction is everything going at this point? I've been reflecting a lot on it and thinking about the children mostly, because they are to be protected. Yeah, it's sad what's going on in the world. And yeah, sometimes even when I think about it, when I'm diverting a little bit, but when we've traveled with our child as well, like you get a lot of different, questioning, and it feels like almost how does trafficking happen? Because we get harassed a lot about our child at the airport. So like, how is there so many kids who are, because if that vetting system is happening to everybody, so where is everything going wrong, where people are being channeled in the wrong direction or smuggled or whatever is happening? Because in my experience, it's like a whole, who are you? How are you the mother of this child? And all the biometrics and whatever checks happen. So yeah, I'm just finding myself baffled and yeah, wondering what's gone kind of awry with the world. Like, are we diverting the attention to the wrong things, or are we focusing our attention in the right places? So yeah, the whole ad that was published, it did get me thinking. And that's not really the reason that I decided not to have the podcast with my daughter. It was just more my own gut, because at the end of the day, I have to parent her in the way that I see. Like, the charity begins at home. So I'm in control of, our narrative and how I suppose we show up on the internet or show up in any case. So it was more of listening to my gut than anything else, because yes, people or Instagram may tell you what to do or how to parent, but everybody has their gut instinct, has their inner conscience and that inner voice that tells you what to do, even when, it might be your ego or something else motivating you. When you listen to that inner voice, it literally tells you, yeah, maybe don't do that, or don't go into something with the wrong motives. So yeah, I just reflected on that for myself and I came to the conclusion that, yeah, it's okay. I'll leave her out of it. She's probably too naive, because when she says, oh, I want to be a customer, she doesn't probably know all the other impacts of being here or showing her face or whatever the case is. So ultimately, yeah, that's where I'm saying that as parents, we ought to use, godly wisdom to guide our parents and to train them up guide our children and train them up in the way that they should grow, and apply those, wisdom principles in knowing what's right or wrong, or knowing where to draw the line. Because like I'm saying, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to post, but there's a line to be drawn. And, if, like people are saying, that creates a profile or history of them that, they didn't consent to, like, your conscience will always guide you and direct you into, okay, should I do that? Or is it my own ego or whatever it is that's driving me to do this? At the same time, the internet is rewarding people who post the kids as content. So I don't know what's supposed to happen. If they're getting paid to do that, obviously they will, milk whatever it is that is to be, received from doing that. So that's where it gets confusing, because, yeah, you're paying people, but then now it's like, oh, no, don't do that, don't do that. So, but it's a genuine source of income for a lot of people. So where are they saying, like, what are we saying in terms of those rewards that people have gotten for doing that? It seems like, okay, it was okay. And then now, okay, it's not okay. We've changed our mind. So yeah, it's very difficult to navigate. But yeah, I'm really guided by my faith, my inner conscience, and not to say I get it right all the time. Parenting is very hard. But yeah, I think there's a lot of joy that, we can share amongst each other as well, especially in this dark world, because, with kids and the things they say and the things they do, it's not a bad thing. It's more like you need to reflect on yourself. If you are taking a picture of a child and using it for something that obviously doesn't benefit them in any way, or puts them in harm's way. I also came across an article where actually the CEO of Meta, he had posted his kids, right? And then he blurred the faces with emojis. And this was widely criticized, obviously, because, it reflects his own privacy concerns, despite creating platforms where millions of people are allowed to, share their own kids. So that's where I'm saying there's just all these contradictions where the platforms are there, but then it seems like, okay, there's something that the rest of the public don't know, because if he's blurring his kids and then other people are posting theirs and making money off it, like the whole thing is just, yeah, I can't make sense of it at all. And when there's all these data protection and there's these violations, we're saying that there's fines, for all these acts. But at the same time, the fines can't bring back life. But at least if you could see the, infrastructure that might be built from those fines, where there is more centers for kids, or there's more amenities for kids to actually stay away from their screens, that would make sense. Because now we're saying, okay, we're fining all these giants, but like, what about the kids? Because we keep fining them, but we're not providing solutions for children or families to, reunite or spend more time together. Like, there needs to be some kind of balance of, okay, yes, we're saying we're taking it away, but what is the solution? Especially in this busy, chaotic world where, you need to survive. At the same time, you want to spend the quality time with your family and do things that edify the family. And, all these things start at home, because you're kind of building that foundation of love, of support within the home. So there needs to be more focus on rebuilding family structures. And, like I'm saying, if there's any centers that accommodate that, that would probably be solution in that sense. So yeah, another reflection I had on this was just the sanctity of life itself, and how we've just made human life so cheap and so worthless that, whoever decides that, okay, today's the day that I decide to take some, whatever it is that they decide on that day to use to inflict harm on someone or on little children, it's just sad to think that it's gotten to that point where human life doesn't mean anything. And you can easily inflict harm on someone else, just like their life doesn't matter, whether it's douse them with petrol, whether it's, using all these different objects that people use these days to just inflict a lot of harm on children, on, whoever, not just children. It's not just limited to children, but the way we've just cheapened life to just, not matter as much. And yeah, to people reflect even on the struggle to actually bring life into this earth is one struggle where it's a hard process itself, and it's even almost like a fight for life and death, because people, like most people, struggle to bring children into this world, whether it be the actual birth process itself, whether they struggled to conceive, whether they had to adopt. So imagine after all that struggle that people go through to bring a child, to raise up a child and bring a child into this earth, and then someone decides that, okay, today I'm going on a rampage, you don't matter, and this is what I intend to do. It's just sad because, yeah, there is a lot of pain behind bringing children into the world. The process itself, sometimes it's almost like, does the mother, do we let go of the mother or do we save the child? So how do we, besides every other thing, I'm just focusing on that birth part. Like, how do we get to a point where we just don't care? We don't respect the sanctity of anybody's life, of anybody's journey, of how they fought to bring their children into this world. And then we just happy to inflict pain and move on with life. And it is quite sad because, like I'm saying, most people do struggle, even if they had to adopt their child or whatever it is that they've had to do to kind of bring life into the earth is a unique journey for everybody. And I think that should be respected regardless of race, color, or creed, or whatever it is. Life in itself is just important, and nobody's life should be just taken away in the kind of manner that it's happening nowadays. Yeah, it starts to feel a bit heavy when you think about all the crazy things that are happening. Yeah, even thinking about just some of the lives that have been lost this year, which a lot of, road incidents as well have been happening. And it's just all this blood that's been shed of like innocent people. And so, yeah, it's just a moment of reflection as well that, the year started and imagine you were 5 in your family and now you're one less person because of one thing or the other. And yeah, I just want to take this moment to really stand with everybody who's lost someone or, people who are missing. And my prayer is that, God will give you comfort and strengthen you because, it's approaching Christmas. And that's a time where, yeah, sometimes that emptiness starts to rise and then you realize, okay, there might have been, plans for that person and these lives have just been cut short. So just empathize and stand with any victims of loss and suffering in this year. And hopefully 2026 will be better. So lastly, I want to share a verse which is in Proverbs 14, verse 26. The verse says, "In the fear of the Lord, one has strong confidence, and his children will have a refuge." Another version says, "Those who fear the Lord are secure, and his children will have a refuge." And yeah, a fear in this instance means, obedience, respect, just the fear of the Lord in that sense. Will have his children will have a refuge. And I think for me, that's that's the solution for me, at least, because I just don't see how any of this is going to get any better or easier to, raise children or because it's really a fight against good and evil, and we are trying our best as parents, but I think we just really need God on our side to give us that godly wisdom and to help us navigate, the difficult waters of parenting, and know that, even if something happens to me today, my fear and respect of the Lord has left my children with a refuge of, running to the Lord, not running to social media or bots or whatever it may be. It's obviously easier said than done, but it's not something you do one day and say, okay, I'm done. It's every day committing, to the Lord to say, okay, God, I'm trusting you with my children. I'm trusting you with my life. I can think this is going to work, but you have better plans for me. You know better because, he knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb and he had great plans for you. So it's really trusting God and submitting all our plans to him, and even the things that confuse us, like, all this posting and internet. Yeah, because and sometimes you operate on trust, and even the things that you trusted will betray you or deceive you. You might think this show is good, and then next thing, all chaos is breaking loose on that, show. So I'm just, encouraging us all, or encouraging you all to, parent with godly wisdom, or, partner with God on your parenting journey. Even what's impossible for man is possible for God. So just relying on him and trusting him to, give us the wisdom to know how to guide our children and to parent them. And because they're always changing, they're always giving us this and that runaround. But when God is in control, I believe that, the fruits of the Spirit flow, and we're able to lean into what he says about our children and how he loves our children, because he does love the children. Even in the Bible, where the disciples wanted to keep the children away from Jesus, he said, "Let the children come to me," because they are the ones who, will inherit the kingdom of God. So unless it had said, actually, if we become more like children, that's how we enter the kingdom of God. So having that childlike faith and trusting and depending on God, because our kids, they think, okay, if I ask my mom for this, she will deliver. I know she's going to do it. So it's that faith of, trusting in God and being more like children, so that, we may inherit his kingdom. And even in that situation when the disciples didn't want the children to see Jesus, that also was a reflection for me on this posting scenario, because it's like Jesus didn't actually want the children to be hidden. So should we be hiding children or should we be holding adults accountable is my real question. Because I don't know that children are meant to be hidden, because there's so much light, there's so much purity, there's so much we can learn from them. But we really need to reflect on ourselves as adults and how we've let things get to this, and how we take good things and, destroy them. It's not a great thing, but I just pray for the grace of God to really help us to navigate all this. And there's probably a lot of changes that are coming and all these bans that are coming, which probably it is good, but it's just to have the godly wisdom to understand for yourself and for your own family, how do I want to raise my family, and what are the foundations that I want to establish in my home? Because it starts in the home and then we send the children out into the world. So I'm passionate about children. They deserve the best. They're so vulnerable as well. Like, we really do need to protect them and advocate for them. And eliminate some of the double standards, because they're a bit confusing. And just keep on fighting the good fight. So before I keep rambling, that brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching. And before I end, just want to say thank you for your support this year on this podcast. This will be my last episode for the year, and it's been an amazing journey so far. There's just so much love, support, friends and family and colleagues standing with me and supporting me. So it is special to me, and I appreciate all of you. With that said, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and see you again in 2026.